to begin. Thank you for joining us tonight. It's actually up to 24 degrees, so that helps. It's 7:01 on Wednesday, January 22nd, and this is the Merrimack Parks and Recreation Committee. And before I am now opening the meeting, and I would like to introduce myself. I am Laura Janes, Chairman of Parks and Rec. At this point, and to my left,
Matt Kasparius, Director of Parks and Recreation.
Tracy McGraw, member.
Jonathan Barkley, MYA.
Rick Renier, MYA.
Michelle Creswell, member and secretary.
Shannon Barnes, school board representative.
Maureen Hall, senior citizen representative. I had brain surgery.
Abby Cody, student representative.
Christine Lavoie, Vice Chair.
great. Thank you all for coming out today. Yeah, we haven't been meeting. It's been a very irregular kind of
6 months.
6 months. And before we approve the minutes, I would like to take a moment because of all that confusion, and I was away in October. I wanted to take a moment of silence to remember Jackie Flood. She was such a friend of this committee for years, and all the committees she was on and subcommittees, and she was just always full of laughter and fun. She made everything fun, and she was a good mentor to me in learning the processes. She was always positive, no matter what position she sat on. I remember a time sitting at a yard sale, P&R yard sale down at Watson, and we just laughed because it was just people selling their good stuff. So I miss her, and I'm sure many of you do, but I did miss all the memorials, so I'd like to take a moment of silence to remember our friend Jackie Flood, please. Thank you very much. I'm learning to breathe better. I think we all should. So, back to the approval of the November minutes. Woo. Kind of where we left off. So, do I have a motion? Has everybody had a chance? Shannon, thank you. Anybody second?
Second.
Thank you very much, Tracy. All those in favor? Yep. It's okay. Lon is not here.
Yeah, but we don't count right now, so all the hands are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 0, 1.
Correct. Yeah, it looks like it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a busy time of year, I get it. Any word from Julie at all?
Yeah, she's stuck at
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, I understand. And meanwhile, our chairman is back with his old business tricks, and we're glad to see you. Our
I've been promoted to chairman. All right.
yeah, you can have that. No, director.
But it became a volunteer
That's
job,
right.
sorry to tell you.
But I do know that Matt has been busy behind the scenes with all the budget stuff going on. So do you want to update us, please?
Sure.
Matthew?
I'm happy to be back too.
Well,
It's
we're
it's
glad
been
you're here. Yeah.
an eventful 6 months, and hopefully it's mostly behind us.
Correct.
Hopefully. And so I kind of purposely kept this meeting somewhat light because I'm still trying to play catch up and
Absolutely.
whatnot. But
Your efforts.
so we'll start with last week was the presentation of the council on the budget. Our budget obviously takes place in kind of two forms. One is the taxpayer-funded side, and realistically, the entire budget was level funded from last year, so there's really wasn't much to talk about. The two we originally had two projects in for next year's capital improvements. One was the demolition of those 3 cabins that we talked about last fall or last summer. And then the other one is the tennis courts. The town at this point looks like they're going to do those projects with surplus funds from last year. So we'll get it done this spring instead of having to wait till next year
Yay.
to do it. So that'll be nice to get those courts resurfaced and those cabins down, and we'll talk about the cabins again in a second, but.
Sure.
But as of last week, that was what they told the council was they were planning on doing with both of those. So it'll be nice to get those done.
Perfect, thank you. Excellent.
And yeah, so, and then obviously again, revolving fund side, we basically were kind of slow and steady for the last year with the turnover from Kirsten to James. We technically ran 4 more programs than compared to a year ago at this time. So about level funding, you know, we didn't increase, didn't decrease, but you know, we're in good shape. So hopefully he'll stick around for a while, and we'll
Yeah, he's
we'll
a
have
great-
time to start building again once things get
He's a
want
great
to calm
guy.
down a little bit. But the one question that did come up, and I don't know if you've seen this or not in your own, in just reading the paper or whatnot, but the State House passed a minimum wage bill last week, 2 weeks ago now, which it's only gone through one branch so far, but it was jumped to $8.50, and then for 60 days after enactment, and then it jumped to $10.60, and then $1.10 an hour increase every year after until it gets to 15. The thought on the Hill up in Concord is that it'll probably pass the other branch, but the governor's not going to sign it, and it doesn't look like at this point they have the votes to override the governor, so it probably won't happen this year. But, you know, I spent a good part of last week trying to figure out what the impact of that would be if it did go through this year. Now, we've already opened camp registration. We did 2 weeks ago,
Oh, my gosh.
or a week and a half ago. And so fees are set, and what it is what it is. And if it passed this year, I could do it, but it'd be really tight on the budget. It would, if it went up, because the problem is that right now our lowest paid employee is the junior camp counselor at the 16 and 17-year-olds. And they were making $8 an hour. So we're basically paying 75 cents above minimum wage. So if minimum wage went up to $8.50, we'd probably go to $9.25, because otherwise we're going to have trouble getting anybody to work for $8, $8.50. But then there's a domino effect, because you have to push everybody else up to accommodate for that. So rough estimates on salary alone, if that passed this year, it'd be a $40 jump on the cost of camp. Well, next year, essentially. $40 next year, and then $1 an hour, basically $15 per week for every year after that. So camp would go, right now we're $225 for camp. So if this passed, say this passes next year, we'd go from $225 to $265 to $290 to $305, you know. And so that's the impact on what salaries would do to us. On the one hand, I'm okay with it, because we need to be paying better for our staff to be able to keep recruiting them. But a 60-day window isn't enough time to. So on the one hand, I kind of want it to pass. But on the other hand, I don't, because it's going to be it'll be really tight this year in the budget to staff that, to accommodate that increase in the budget. Like especially again a $2 increase this year, But again, at this point, it doesn't look like it's going to pass. But there was a lot of questions from the council about it, and so I was fortunately ready with all of my facts and figures of what that would look like. But it's coming, If the governor gets voted out next year and there's a Democratic governor next year, it very well could happen next year, But again, who knows? And hopefully we'll know in November if that happens, and then we'll be able to, obviously we won't have set the camp fee next year. And now the thing that works in our favor with that is that we're kind of on the lower end of what camps in the area are charging. And now last year we had to do a $15 jump. We went from $210 to $225 last year. And I was worried about it, and we ended up still selling out, and we're still on the lower end, but I purposely held fees at level funding because I didn't want to jump them up again this year on parents. And again, we sold out. So I'd rather be sold out with a waiting list than half full, because we're charging too much. So, so it's, just something to keep an eye on going forward.
How many registrations have you had so far, like guesstimate?
205.
Well, or the number.
And it's January,
In a week and a half, we've had 205 session
in
registrations.
just January, wow.
Like, can you, that, you're probably gonna wow me again. Can you tell me what percentage of the camp population that represents as far as the capacity?
It's two segments. One is the younger kids, so 5, 6, 7, and then we're starting to see a big surge in the teen one now with the, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, those age with our trip-based program. So those have been the two where we've seen most of the registrations so far. And again, both of those sold out. The entire camp pretty much sold out last year. So we were kind of expecting that to happen. So yeah, we just gotta keep. So last year in comparison, we had 942 total registrations over the course of the summer, and we're over 200 already in a week. So that's a good, huh? Yes, yeah. The year before was 9. No, it was like 900 the year before. So we've been steadily jumping up like 40 or 50 registrations every year. And part of that is of course, when we fixed up Wasserman Parks, we don't have buildings falling over and that kind of thing. We've done more with the curriculum, those kinds of things
Yeah, but the
we
but
keep
the
it affordable.
revolving account is everything.
Right,
And
so
you've set this all up, projecting all this, and it's working well, thank you.
so far so good.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
But, so that's that. So again, budget was no issue. I probably spoke for 15 minutes. They had, somebody from MYA was with us and talked for about 20 minutes on MYA. Was just more, and then John O'Leary was there to talk about their stuff. Actually, it was kind of a rare treat because we get to go first. Usually I'm last.
Yeah.
And so usually it's like 9:45 and I'm starting, and it's like, but, so yeah, I only probably I was there for an hour, but I only talked for probably 15 minutes the whole time. So that was that was
Well,
probably the
thank you.
smoothest time I've gone through in 7 years here, so. And isn't that
Looking
crazy too, that
good,
this is
looking
year
good.
7?
Yeah.
Anyway, so moving on to the park. So first of all, let's start with the beach project. Dawn Twomel and I, Dawn from DPW and I went up to Concord this morning to meet with DES to talk about the permits that we need. And part of the argument we've been trying to make was all those tree roots are a hazard because there's a restriction on 10 cubic yards of sand, which I don't think will cover the amount of roots exposed there. We sat there for an hour and a half with them, and basically they're not letting us take the trees down. It's, huh? The state. Wetlands and shoreline protection and all that. And like I said, we went through all kinds of scenarios, but basically they said, yeah, no, you're not going to be able to take the tree out. Oh yeah, we showed them maps of the whole lower half of the park and everything, and the safety and the roots and just they said no. And well, that came up too, but anyway, so we have to kind of go back and change the drawings and the plan a little bit. Dawn has to go and redo the engineering and all that, but what it kind of looks like we're going to end up doing at this point, and I don't have anything official yet because again, this is only this morning, but there'll be, a retaining wall at the top of the beach as there was always planned to be. The original plan was kind of a series of terraces. 10, 15 feet, retaining wall, set of stairs, retaining wall, tiered down to get down to the water. The new plan is probably going to be, stairs from up above this retaining wall at the top, and then mostly flat ground, but then we're going to have to put a shorter wall at the entrance to the sand so that the sand doesn't slide in with stairs. So you basically have to go downstairs to actually get into the water in this new scenario.
So, I'm sorry, I kind of behind, I haven't been here in a while, but the
No, you're
sand
not.
being used, was that using just to cover the current sand and the roots? or was that using to kind of level the transition into the water? Because I know like right now there's a little dip getting into the water.
Yeah, well, it's supposed to, the original plan was to do both. And it was supposed to be just a flat transition, because I didn't want that piece of block at the water's edge, because kids are gonna jump off it.
Oh, yeah.
But the state basically said no, and
But the dredging's okay? They're gonna dredge?
dredging isn't gonna be
They're
a
gonna dredge out
problem.
of the-
Yep, dredging won't be a problem. We can also change the configuration of the dock. I can push that front section of the H
Right, you had thought
deeper.
about that, yeah.
And I can do that when we do the dredging, which will be nice, because that in itself will improve that front swimming section.
But they'll still use the same sand
Mm-hmm.
to refill.
And so we'll
Without
have to
adding-
wait and see when
Okay,
Dawn
okay.
comes up with the drawings.
Okay.
How this is actually gonna look,
Thank you.
but
Yeah.
it wasn't great news. Now, with that said,
Interesting.
Dawn's thought as of this morning was, we should be able to at least get the beach portion done. We may not have time to get the dredging portion done before summer. Just,
Yeah.
it's a timing, and when you send it to the state, they have 50 days to respond to the permit, and of course, she now has to go and redraw all this stuff and then send it to them. And then we have to put it out to bid, and, so
Jeez, well,
we're still
that's-
hoping to get at least the beach portion of it done before summer, and then the dredge in the water. If we get the beach portion done, I can adjust the docks to push that section out deeper. That'll help, and then we'll just have to deal with the muck at the end of the summer or in the fall.
And it's still, so much of it is weather driven. Oh my God.
There's that too. So that's where we stand on the beach.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Anyway, so then our other challenge we've had in recent weeks, I mentioned the cabins earlier. So wouldn't you know, one of the cabins we were slated to take down was hit by a tree in that
Oh, you're kidding.
snowstorm 2.5 weeks ago, that Monday storm we got a couple of weeks ago.
Snake pit?
Yeah, Snake Pit, the cabin 5.
I've-
Nice big tree on there. We are still waiting on.
Yeah, that's the backside, right?
That's the backside. We're still waiting on, and it did a fair. I mean, it went.
Oh, yeah.
It went in. It broke rafters. It broke
Goner.
a little bit of everything.
Oh,
So we're still waiting on the insurance company to tell us what they're going to give us for it, and the answer to that question will dictate whether we still take it down, whether we take it down and then use if there's money left over to use it for something else, or if they give us enough to replace the roof and fix all the rafters that was the cause of wanting to take it down in the first place, then maybe we'll fix it and have a newish cabin again and not take it down. I don't know. It'll probably be next week before I'll hear from the insurance company. But
and each of these bigger cabins also has a central bathroom, is that
Correct,
correct?
yep.
So that there's campers on one side of the bathroom or where they put their stuff.
right.
8 to 10 kids maybe on each side or at the max?
Right now we don't tend to use them as much as they
Sure.
used to, usually in the old days. So usually there's only one group in a cabin at a time, so
Yeah.
maybe 20 at most in a building.
That's fine.
If we needed more rainy day space and, that kind of
Okay,
stuff.
thank you.
Because we have the function hall, the theater, and the arts and crafts, and, those kinds of things. So, so that was fun on that. And that's for now, and I'll turn it over to Chris about.
Yeah, Chris, your turn to have fun, Chris.
I know, that's a quick transition. Thanks, Matt.
Summing it up in 6 months.
Okay, so currently the dog park is going well. Thank you for our shovel ferry that went out and shoveled. That was really nice to get there, and it was already done, so. It was Emmett? Emmett's mom?
Well, no, Emmett did it.
Emmett.
Emmett did it.
Okay,
Is that a member of your group?
that's the dog.
Yes, he's
Oh,
a
Emmett
he's
did.
a four-legged member of
Lot
the
of hot
group.
air.
He
Yeah.
came out and dug out things.
That's
Yeah.
cute.
So that was wonderful to see. Currently, our balance in the dog park fund is $2,896.59. We do have one fundraiser we're researching, and that's maybe an Easter egg hunt, possibly on the following weekend after the children's one. Still in the research phase, see if we can come up with enough volunteers and prizes and stuff, so more to come. That happens. If you haven't visited our Facebook page, it's Friends of the Merrimack Dog Park. It's where most of our communications go out from and keep everybody updated. And And that's about it. Anybody who has any pet safe salt they'd like to donate to the dog park, that'd be great. You can drop it off at the camp office for Matt, and he can hold it until we need it. That'd be fantastic.
Sorry, you said pet safe salt.
Pet safe salt. Yes.
Perfect. Yeah, I know what it
So we're
is.
running low, so we just need to put out a little plea for some.
Absolutely.
So that'd be fantastic.
Yes, there, Ms. Tracy?
Just to add to what Chris was asking for too, along with the donation for Pet Safe Salt, we need we would love to have a massive donation of doggy bags.
Oh,
I'm not sure the most diplomatic way to put it, but let's just say to pick up their leftovers. We are actually out of doggy bags completely.
we are now. Okay.
So we will look around to businesses. We've done that in the past, but we do rely on our volunteers and our people who come to the dog park to hopefully donate boxes of doggy bags.
Do you have any recommendations on the type of doggy bags that perhaps?
People have bought them from the dollar store, which they tend to be a little thinner and your hand kind of goes through them. Someone ordered some online. Someone ordered them from Amazon. Came in a huge box with a lot of the little, they're little round, spooled doggy bags usually. Yeah. There's a lot of different things. A lot of different places where they get them from. Locally, everywhere, everybody sells them. And a plug for Pet's Choice. They have both the Pet Safe ice belt as well as
Exactly.
puppy bags.
Puppy
They're doing
bags.
fantastic.
Is there such a thing as a biodegradable bag for such things? Instead of
know.
plastic? I'm sorry.
I have to admit that there are times when they look like they've already been biodegradable when they sit there for a little while. But I've not seen them come apart by natural means. It's usually by, just being
Thank
left
you.
in a bad area.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. Thank you very much, ladies.
Suggestion? Do you think Teresa would put like a box down there with a sign?
Possibly.
And
Yeah,
put a little
possibly.
sign that says,
Dump a
you
bunch
know,
in.
the bags and the salt, maybe somebody's in there, they'll see the sign, oh, for the dog park, and just put it in the box, buy it and they'll put it in the box, because she's willing to,
Yeah, she's in the past, if somebody's donated something,
Yeah.
they'll mark it and
yeah.
they'll,
But if they see something,
yeah.
not have to think about it, and they'll
Gotcha.
say,
We can reach out to Teresa and see what she says,
'cause
absolutely.
she's so kind.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, she's amazing.
Do you, okay, do you think we should approve any funds to buy the ones that go in the, center holders at this point? Are we that desperate for poop bags?
The, Kim and I had put up those peanut butter jars all around the park that had the small spools of dog bags in them.
So there's some.
There's a couple of
Okay.
them that have them. So it's been really good to have that. So we're gonna work on that again in the spring cleanup and do some more of that. There are no dog bags that fit into the formal metal things on both sides, the small and the large dog side. But I believe that maybe we can look to veterinary clinics or whatever, see if maybe they'd be willing to donate, maybe have their name on the bags, whatever, to have some kind of a marketing thing for them.
All right, let's start there.
But as far as purchasing anything right now, I think let's go the donation route first.
You bet.
All right.
Okay, that sounds good.
Any more ideas, suggestions?
All right.
Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you very much, Christine and Tracy. And
Certainly.
moving on to the director, not the chair. Yeah,
I told you that I was keeping this a quick, short meeting.
please.
So the ice skating rink finally opened yesterday. It's funny, we were ready 2 weeks ago, and then last weekend
Oh,
we
the
had
weather.
that 70-degree Sunday or whatever it was,
Uh-huh.
and of course, all gone. And surprisingly, it only took a week to refreeze, but the
Yeah.
DPW was out there every day hosing it down, trying to, because you have to do it in layers, and it's just a slow process. So we're grateful for their efforts out there.
Absolutely.
The lights for the rink were ordered back in December. The council gave that approval back, it must have been December, November,
was, yeah.
whenever that was. They have to make the posts. I mean, these are going to be kind of ornamental, but there'll be lights around the rink, which will also double for the summer when, with beach volleyball out there, you know, it'll cover the same footprint. So you'll be able to play beach volleyball at night. And then there'll be one kind of heading back towards the parking lot, just so it's not pitch dark, you know. They're putting in tomorrow, actually, they're putting in, I think, the wiring and like the posts and stuff, and then the fixtures themselves are coming soon. They're on
Awesome.
order, but, so at some point, hopefully before winter ends, we'll have lights, and then it'll be there going forward, barring any other surprises. But
Quick question about the lights.
Yeah.
Sorry, because I'm an avid user of the rink.
Yeah.
With the kids, so are the lights gonna be like on a scheduled basis, like every night, or is it gonna be certain nights?
no,
or-
it should be every night. I don't know exactly what the schedule's gonna be. It'll probably be something similar to what was up here when it was over at, on O'Gara. And then I think those were every night.
Yeah, I don't remember. I didn't use it over there.
Right, but something to that effect. I don't know yet what that'll be, but,
Just curious.
but I would envision, you know, every night till 9 or 10 or something along those lines.
Now, is it posted like on the Rex website or something, or DPW's website when it's open, when it's not? Because I know like last year there was a couple times where they had to like not let people use it because it did get warm a little bit.
Yep.
I mean, is that
We
something
we usually will post it on the website as well as send out Facebook, and DPW will usually do the same thing. Sometimes, obviously, it gets missed or, you know, whatever,
Yeah,
but, you know, suddenly on a Saturday afternoon, it's bright and sunny and warm and it all melts from, you know, Saturday afternoon, we're not there checking it necessarily, you know, so. But yeah, if they tell me it's closed, then I will always put it up.
Okay, that's a great idea.
Matt, is there a physical sign down there that gets flipped or?
There is, yeah. I mean, up until now, it's just it's probably, you know, good sized sign.
Yeah.
That just says, you know, rink is closed, and that will come out. It stays in there's a storage shed down there, and so they'll pull that out whenever they close it. Whenever DPW closes the rink, they would pull that out. That just says rink closed, thin ice, or, you know, something to that effect.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So camp registration, like I said, opened a week and a half ago. Already, as I said, 205 registrations in that time frame. I have not done the, you know, year to date this year to last year, but I'm
Okay.
anecdotally, I'd say we're higher. And so, you know, with that, we're obviously starting to hire for summer, and, you know, trying to reach out to summer staff and whatnot, and, but accepting applications for basically every position. Offhand, I know camp counselors, probably swim instructors, probably lifeguards. I do need a park maintainer this year, special needs aide, a nature instructor, a drama instructor. Those are the main ones that I know of. There could be others that come in, and depending on, we've had a few people already that we've moved up in rank, so it's filling their jobs out. But so if people are interested, they can go on our website or on the town website, and there's a link to, you know, for the job description as well as to the actual town application. Applications come here to Human Resources, and then who then forwards them over to me for interviews. So I've gotten 3 or 4 already, new applications in that I have not yet scheduled for interviews, but we'll be starting those probably next week. So, and it's just
Excellent.
hire them until we keep going until we fulfill all the spots. So, now with camp this year, because we sold out last year, we did increase our capacity, both in our regular camp as well as in the teen camp, so that we don't have to turn people away. You know, when we get to June and I've got a waiting list, but I don't have any staff, I'm kind of stuck. So I'm hoping by starting early and preemptively hiring kind of at least what we had last year with, and probably 1 or 2 more, that, you know, we'll fill up again, and we won't have as much trouble filling spots, but we'll see. The Holiday Happenings event went really well. We had a little touch and go, because we didn't have our usual cadre of volunteers that we usually get, and which is why I reached out to all of you, because I was panicking there, and you know, we had a bunch of kids show up that didn't tell us they were coming, so it was like, so it worked out okay, but it was like, if I had relied on them coming and then they didn't, then we would have been in trouble, you know. But the candy cane hunt that we did in partnership with Macaroni Kid over at Twin Bridge 750 kids
Oh, yeah.
for that piece of it. And actually, I got to give kudos to Public Works again. We had that big snowstorm the week beforehand, so they out here that week. Not only did they get the town cleared, but they actually plowed Abbey Griffin Park and part of the baseball field, so that because I mean the snow was just too deep to walk in, and they actually plowed a lot of that out for us on that Friday beforehand. So. You know, we're looking at the tree lighting, and tree lighting had about 500 people, and we're looking at it, you know, 2-3 days beforehand. I'm going, okay, everybody's gonna have to just stand in the snow, and how's that gonna work? And we had gotten them earlier in the week, had gotten them to carve out like, I don't know, 75 square feet for the band to stand in for them to play. And I'm like, I'm going to have to rope this off because otherwise everybody's going to congregate over there and kick and push the band out of the way, you know. And then fortunately, you know, they were able to kind of clear the whole thing. But that was an interesting event. But it went well. 22 floats in the parade, up from.
Yeah, that's not
We've been
bad.
averaging like 15 to 17 the last couple of years, so that was pretty good.
Good effort.
Yeah, so that went well.
And once that sun goes down at 3:30.
Oh, it got cold fast. It dropped probably 15 degrees in the half an hour we were standing there.
So thank you for all that. That was
So upcoming events, we have 2 coming up in February. First one is our murder mystery dinner on February 8th. The theme this year is a sock hop gone sour, so it's a 1950s sock hop theme. That'll be over at the O'Leary Center again. We've sold 65 tickets at this point. You know, still less than what we had the last 2 years, but we still got a couple of weeks. So hopefully we'll pick up another 20 or so in the next few weeks.
65, what's the cap on that?
100.
okay.
So we're 2/3. You know, not bad.
That's still working.
And then 2 weeks after that is the Winter Carnival, which is Saturday, February 22nd, 12 to 3. Again at Wasserman Park. We've got, and I didn't print out the list of how many groups, but we've got probably 25 groups of activities, kind of like Halloween and a lot of our other events. You know, every group runs a table, essentially, or a game or a craft or an activity. And we actually have DPW is going to be doing a touch-a-truck with some of their snow equipment there. We're going to try and bring back the cardboard box sled race if
Yeah.
we have enough snow. Like right now, there's not
Right
enough
now,
snow.
it's just mud and ice.
There's some snow, but there's not enough for that right now. The Lions Club will be doing their ice fishing derby again. Unfortunately, we don't have the antique snow cars this year, and we don't have the hayride. The hill was just too much for the horses last
Oh,
year.
God, yes.
So, you know, it is. But, you know, we've got
Ice
said, 20
the ice carvers.
ice carvers will be there again. So, yeah,
Get
20
this
20 or
chili dog.
25 activities at this
they
point. And
Didn't we, one year we had the snowmobile thing?
there used to be the Merrimack Snowbuds was a snowmobile club that did rides, and they folded. They disbanded. So that's when we kept trying to get the antique snow cars because
Right.
somebody else to do it. And
Gotcha. That was a
so
big draw to have a ride thing like that.
yeah. And again, last year with the snow cars was kind of the same appeal, you know.
Can I ask you a quick question on, so this goes back to Halloween.
Yes.
Are we all set for parking?
We're working on it.
Okay,
I had a conversation with the police department the other day about it. So
okay.
whether it's details or what, I'm not sure what the end result's going to be yet, but
Okay.
we're working on it.
Okay, I just, I'm there to help.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so those are the main things I have.
Excellent.
Coming up in February, our February meeting, we're going to talk about rental fees on the function hall. It's been 4 years, I think, since they were changed or since they were set initially. That first year we did, it was a half year, but we did $1,200 in rentals. Then we went to $2,500 in rentals. Last year we did $6,000 in rentals, and right now we're just shy of $8,000 on the year. So we're getting a lot. I'm still waiting for, the Rotary Club had told me 6 months ago that they were going to paint the interior of the function hall and also do acoustics, deal with the acoustic paneling, rotary. But I'm waiting for the final, yes, we're ready to do it from them, and I haven't gotten that yet. But I'm hoping to get that done this winter, because that will, one, improve the sound quality in there, so that'll help with rentals. And so we're getting to that point now where I think we have to start looking at fees. We are, from what I can tell anecdotally, we're the cheapest game in town. And we've kind of deliberately done that on purpose as we kind of get our bearings. But it's time to probably go up at least a little bit, you know. But what I need to do in the next 3 weeks is to go and figure out who else is running rentals and what they're charging and are they doing it? Some are doing it by the hour, some are doing it by the day, some are doing it just a flat fee, some are insurance, some are not, you know. So I'm trying to figure out best way to compare apples to apples. We're also hoping eventually to be able to take reservations online through our registration software. Technically, the software can do it, but not with our fee structure, because our fee structure right now is it's a 3-hour block of time, but then in each additional hour is $25. And it can take the 3 hours, but it can't take the additional, if they add on an hour or two, it can't take it and mark it off on the calendar. So theoretically, somebody could come in and there could be an overlap and, you know, so I'm trying to figure that out. So I may go get away from the 3 hours then plus one. Maybe it's just 2-hour blocks, or, you know, I'm not sure yet. But again, I want to see what others are doing to around that and see if I can then make my software do what I need it to do. So right now, it's for residents, it's $125 for 3 hours, and then for non-residents, it's $300. Now with that, there's an additional, the town has a requirement that they obtain tenant liability insurance, which they can get through our Primex carrier. And so for an event without alcohol, that's currently $77. And for an event with alcohol, it's like $153. So, but still, you're talking $200 or $200 or 125 plus 275 for a resident is still pretty cheap, even with the insurance. It's an extra step and it's a pain in the butt to make them, because they have to go and do it. I can't order it for them. Not currently. So I keep asking for that, and so far they can't do that. But right now it's $25 in each additional hour across the board. And then we also have if they want to use the kitchen, we charge extra for that, figuring they're using the propane stove and the fridge and and keeping the kitchen clean and and honestly most don't. Even the groups that come in, you know, we've had several weddings. Most of the times the caterers just cook it at their facility and bring it over in warmers, and they're not generally using our stove, but we have had some that do potlucks and that kind of stuff using the kitchen, but not many.
And who does the cleaning afterwards? Your department? Or
It's
is that
it's
bundled into the fee? Or
they have to put all the tables and chairs away.
right.
We
Okay,
don't
so
do
there's a
that.
minute, right.
Right now, I have in the first couple of years, I happened to have my part-time year-round park attendant
Right.
who worked weekends anyway, so he would staff the event, he'd unlock the door, and then close up and clean up after that, clean up the, vacuum the rugs and that kind of stuff after.
Sure.
He left us in September of last year, so I have a new guy who works Monday through Friday now.
Oh.
So, but I have I have another part-time employee that covers some of the rentals, and some of the rentals I cover, some of the rentals I give a key, which I really hate doing keys
Yeah.
to public buildings.
Yeah.
I don't like it. We're hoping, the town's in the process of updating the phone systems here. They actually have done town hall. They've given my office the new phones, although they're not hooked up yet. But they've talked about putting the same it's like a voice over IP kind of phone, but they've talked about putting the same phone line down in the function hall, because we have phones down there anyway. So it would actually save them money on the phone bill instead of paying $80 a month to Comcast or whatever would be whatever the package is with the town, you know. So they've talked about doing that. In order to do that, I have to get a better internet signal. We have Wi-Fi in the building, but it's basically an extender coming up from the camp office down the hill. So it kind of works, but it's not reliable enough to do, you know, motion security cameras or electronic door locks that I can do it like from my phone and go, okay, there are events at 5 o'clock, okay, hit the button and unlock it and then lock it after kind of thing. Ultimately, that's where I'd like to get to, if I can, especially if I can do it remotely, so that
Oh, yeah.
I don't have to come in, drive the half 1 hour over here on a Saturday night to lock or unlock a building, or.
Yeah.
But again, I really hate giving out keys to public buildings. You know, we haven't had a problem with it yet, but it only takes one.
Oh, yeah.
You know, somebody forgets to lock it, or they lose the key. They can copy the key. You know, most of the expensive stuff we keep locked up, but again, doesn't mean it couldn't happen. So, but ultimately, I'd like to get to that point, and we'll find out with the
good
phone
idea.
system in the next couple of months if that's something that we can do. But we'll see.
That'd be very helpful to you.
So that'll be February's meeting, assuming I can survey all the other competitors to see what they're charging and figure out what I want to charge and how it's going to work, and
Great.
and then we'd go through that process with a recommendation of the council and all that good stuff. And that's all I got.
Nicely done. Any other questions, comments? Thank you. Thank you, Matt. You did it. And moving on to organization reports, and glad to see you, Maureen. And
Thank you.
you came back to this meeting, so
Yeah, I
I
came.
was going to send you
I've
a
been
card,
out,
but you're here.
I've been out of the senior meetings a lot.
I'm
you know,
sorry. I know.
Doctors and
We've
stuff.
had quite a year.
I'm trying to keep up with our chairperson, she's not a chair, right?
We know who you meant.
Yeah, he knows.
Well, I'm glad you're here, honey. Thank you.
All right, the last meeting we had Monday was a sharing. I don't know, I think you guys know, or maybe you don't. It's called a sharing meeting, and somebody got creative and actually brought pea soup. Huge thing, so they bring food. The food is unbelievable. Everybody brings something. And you know, when there's 80 people, and 80 people bring food, it's like hilarious. Oh my God. Talk about it. But anyways, that's a once a month deal, and they're doing that. We had elections of officers, so I will give you the names. They're all the same people, but next month we're going to bring them in. It's very hard to get seniors to run for anything now, so when you're in the office, that's it. You're done forever, unless you die. You can't, that's a then we have to replace them. I know. We had signups for Venus de Milo. It's an Irish dinner, cabbage and corned beef, and it's a show, of course, an Irish show. And Lorraine has a whole bunch of things for us to sign up for, but they're not set in stone. All kinds of trips, but you have to sign up. And when she gets a list of like 20 people that are interested, then she finds out about it and gives us a price, and then we sign up for them. But other than that, we're getting a lot of couples coming,
That's
because they all want
wonderful.
to go to the trips, so
Yeah.
hopefully we get more. Some of the trips aren't selling out like she thought they would, so.
It's always hit or miss. I
Yeah.
know we've got, we've got Riverdance in Boston tickets in
Oh.
April, and right now I've only sold 4 seats.
Really?
For that
I
trip,
didn't even
so-
know you had.
I just
Yeah, we gotta
dropped
go
off, I
looking
dropped off
around.
flyers at the senior center
Okay.
on, what day? Today's Wednesday, right? Monday.
Oh, okay.
Monday, I dropped flyers
right.
off Monday night.
Good, good,
So hopefully people will start signing up for that one. But yeah, we're having kind of the same problems.
yeah. I know, I don't know what it is, but, I mean, last year, like Foxwood sold out like that, and we had trouble filling a bus, so
Right.
now we're with you,
Right,
so, but I didn't get to go.
right. Well, they're planning another one soon, I think. Right?
May, I thought,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
maybe. It depends, yeah, so.
And are you guys doing another blood drive coming up?
Steve didn't tell me when.
Okay.
I know we have one.
Okay.
Well, you didn't give, you can't give.
I can't give right now myself anyway, but,
He
but
was
just
there
in
all the
terms
time.
of promoting it. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, no, yeah. I don't know when he said it. I was I was there for the last one. I dragged myself, and we had, well, it keeps increasing. We started at like 15, then we ended up with 20, and I think this last one was over 30.
Wow.
But they don't take walk-ins. I'm really surprised. Walk-ins have a hard time Because everybody now goes on the computer
Well,
and books it ahead. So when people come in, and I feel bad for them because they're discouraged, you know? And they sit, and and an hourly, nope. Nope, because they only have
Depends on how many slots have been filled.
filled and how many nurses.
Like that last one, they were short-staffed, I think.
Oh, yeah,
They were like 2 or 3 people short, so they just, they couldn't, they couldn't
Yeah.
make the appointments, yeah.
yeah, so
Say
it's
that again?
really,
Yeah, last
Hi,
time they were
Michelle.
short-staffed and more people donated, not just a regular blood.
the red blood,
Exactly,
yeah.
but they did the red blood, which takes longer to do.
yeah.
So it was a combo of short-staffed and what you were donating.
Yeah.
I think that's why the walk-ins
Yes,
for that
yes.
particular day got a little
But
crazy.
it's sad because people get the guts to come in and then go, oh,
Right, because the
sorry.
scheduled people were
Yeah.
behind.
and I think that's just evident in our society right now. There's so many signups, it's hard to coordinate it all. Anything else, Maureen? Great, thank you, good job. Well, yeah, we haven't seen each other. Hi, Rick. MYA or John?
Rick.
There you go. Whoa. And your name again,
Rick,
please?
my name's Jonathan.
Hi, Jonathan, okay.
I'm one of the board members at for MIA, member at large. So, we have currently have 2 sports in season. Basketball, which has approximately 600 kids, and wrestling, which is approximately 50 kids.
Okay.
We have 4 sports with registrations open: lacrosse, travel soccer, softball, and baseball are all currently taking registrations for spring season. We have 1 open position for the board, which is secretary. So, who wants it?
Minimum wage, minimum wage.
We take turns.
Oh, okay.
We make it happen one way or the other, but.
And that's pretty much all I have.
Thank you very much.
Make it
Thanks for
easy.
coming,
Short and
Jonathan.
sweet.
Well,
Is
you're
there-
here.
Just a general curiosity question. Are there, obviously MIA runs, the eight sports? 7 sport, okay. Have you guys gotten any requests for sports that you guys don't currently offer?
So, yes is the answer. One of them was raised by a few people, including myself, and that was volleyball.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But quite frankly, at the time, several years ago, we couldn't find enough adults that were willing to form a committee for it.
Okay.
And recently, another suggestion, I'm trying to remember what that sport is, came up recently at a meeting. Wasn't that
Pickleball.
Maureen? No.
Pulled it.
It escapes me at the moment,
You're
but I'll
feeling
think
better.
of it. So, yeah, why do you ask?
Curiosity, I mean, if there's a need out there and there's an interest out there, and maybe we can find some way to, in the big picture of fields and gyms and whatever, maybe there's a way to serve somebody that's not being served.
Yeah.
Particularly adult sports. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of all kinds of softball leagues around here, but there's not a lot of. I mean, there's a group from Manchester and Nashua that does adult sports leagues in the area, but like I said, I start looking at, particularly with adults, other things that maybe we can be offering as an option.
How's the project coming for the pickleball court at Wasserman? I noticed the back panel's painted on the other side, halfway.
Yeah, I think he ran out of time before it got cold.
It got
and
cold, yeah. I
So he'll
figured.
be back in the spring to finish painting that. And then we also have to, so in the spring, we'll have to stripe the ground, and then
Okay.
we still have to get the net and all that.
Yeah,
But
okay.
that'll be in the spring, so there
Sure.
will be that.
Because I know there's a couple of leagues of pickleball
Mhm.
around this area that adults that like to play without
I think you're right.
Yeah.
exhausting yourself.
Matt, excuse me, John helped me recall that it was field hockey was the other sport.
Oh, really?
For
Field
adults
hockey.
or for kids?
For children also, yeah.
MYA doesn't do field hockey?
We don't, no.
No. But
I
there's,
think part of the problem was fielding, because
Yeah.
it was a bigger field, it takes a bigger field. to
Yeah,
produce.
or a rectangular field
It
in
takes
general.
a big rectangular field.
So
that
soccer,
was one.
full-size soccer?
Similar, yeah.
Different nets.
Are there teams at the high school? There must be field hockey.
It begins at the middle school
Middle
level,
school,
yeah,
thank you.
7th grade.
Oh, okay.
Intramural or, never mind. Okay. All right.
Actually, quick question. So the
Yeah,
last
Jonathan.
the last meeting I actually did make, it was brought up for the property was donated off of Pearson.
Oh, right.
Is there any change on that, or where that went? I know it was waiting for approval, if the Rex was gonna get it, or?
No decisions have been made, or at least none have been told to me. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that property
mean,
that was
that's gonna be-
donated.
If it happens, it's gonna be a few years down the
Well, I
road,
figured,
probably,
yeah.
but.
Actually, I have a question. It dates back 10 years, so I hope you have it off the top of your head. And that was the Fields Needs Committee report that was done in 2010. I know the school board and the town council in joint meetings, we brought it up as a request of the council to take a look at that. Have you been reached out to by the town about sports and enrollments and anything like that to see where Fields Needs might come in again?
We looked at it, that was probably, what, 3 years ago? And
Couple
that
years.
that was the last time, but we haven't had anything from the council since then.
Okay. There's
Are you-
definitely not a new field I know of, so.
Are you talking about like which fields are used by MYA?
The Fields Needs report from 2010 was actually one of my first things I ever did when I was on the school board, and it was basically looking at the town population, the sport, the MYA sports, the school sports, adult sports. We know we have adult softball and baseball, and we're based on the needs and the usage, and how you have to properly manage fields because of overusage making them unusable.
Yep.
That there was a report that was established on those population numbers that talked about the deficit of fields we have in Merrimack. And at the time, we still had Anheuser-Busch, was it Colesman, which I know is Albert, but and then the ones, do we still have the ones on Continental,
Yes.
Jetija, or what, I never say it
Yeah.
right.
We do.
But excellent. So, but there are some that are gone now, even from that pool. And I will tell you, just from the school district perspective, we have to do population projections for student enrollment, and we're expecting to gain 50 kids a year for the next 5 years. And we've already gained over 100 kids since school started in October.
And you still have apartments going up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's where those projections come
So-
in. So I didn't know if, with all of this going on, if there's been any activity around that. I know the MYA would absolutely be a significant stakeholder for that kind of facility. So I was just seeing what you might know.
Yeah, nothing, like I said, it's probably been 3 years, two or 3 years since we last talked about it. We didn't get very far because it was like, there was no money and there was no place to build a field, And, so Greenfield Farms up off of Pearson there, is our most recent possibility, but again, we're still waiting to hear from the council whether it's definitely gonna come to us or if it's gonna go to conservation, or, we've put in a claim, and we even have some kind of rough map of, field layouts put in, and parking and all that, kind of what that might look like. But again, until they say, yes, it's definitely gonna happen, then I don't know. It's a few years down the road.
To give you an idea, I know we manage as far as fields go. In this past fall, we were able to not use one of the fields, Twardowski on Amherst, because that is one that does need some work. We do have Colesman and Reeds and some other facilities, but the biggest complaint that we get is Wasserman. Football uses Wasserman, and they say half the time it's unusable. It just gets so dusty and it's dirt. So that's just, just give you an idea. That's kind of where we're at, but we do manage. I know that there are kids going to be coming in, and it's going to grow. As far as what sports, we don't know yet.
Okay.
And there is, I don't mean to jump ahead, but there is a committee for allowing outside kids in some sports that are struggling. So there's no decision on that yet, but I know that's something some of the sports are looking at because it's the population.
Maybe that won't be an issue as we're getting in more kids.
They'll just
Right.
come here and stay.
Right.
So
So there you go.
Now,
It seems
back
to be
to
the
your
case.
issue on Wasserman, I mean, football is the only one that uses that space, not even the camp does, and it's a practice field. I mean, there's not a whole lot I can do with it, you know, I don't have,
We really
I-
haven't stressed it, but.
I can't put, you know, $100,000 worth of irrigation on a practice field. It just, it just isn't gonna happen, you know. Now, you know, we've talked, I think around this table before about, you know, I think there's enough room to do full-sided soccer over there. Then maybe it's worth, you know, trying to convince the town to spend the money to do soccer or a multi-purpose field and do an irrigation there. But it doesn't make sense to do it for football, you know, but then where do you put football? And I don't have an answer to that yet, so.
Which gets us back to the
Right.
initial discussion.
Yes. I have quite a bit of ground to cover, actually. So it's only been a month. Who knew? So at our last meeting, I know we discussed, again, we're going back to the Halloween discussion, and are we getting close to capacity based upon the huge amounts of usage of your programs? So it was something I brought in up just on my subcommittee report that, you know, what options would be beneficial to be considered. And of course, school district property was brought up at our meeting. And I said something to think about, nothing that we have to act on, but, you know, there may come a time where the Parks and Rec Department will like to reach out and talk about, you know, the challenges that they're facing and that, you know, what the school district facilities may be able to do to alleviate that. So I just want to let you know that message to go back to the board. Couple housekeeping items from the school district. Our budget was completed by the school board on last Thursday. It is now in the hands of the budget committee, and their hearings start tomorrow night, and they will be doing departmental reviews. We, in our deliberations from the budget that we received to the budget that we delivered, reduced the amount by just close to 1.1 million. So the increase year over year is just shy of 1.5% increase year over year. And of course, that covers things like, you know, health insurance increases of 13%, et cetera. So we are definitely working leaner next year. So things that are warrant articles are to be considered and also will be beneficial to this committee is there will be a warrant article put on the ballot for the O'Gara campus plan. So O'Gara Drive, of course, runs along Mastrocola Elementary, upper elementary schools, down to the high school, all the parking involved in that area, the pavement, the facilities, the lighting, usage, all of that. So based on, you know, what we're facing as a community with increased population, increased usage of parking, increased usage of our facilities for community use, and, you know, the safety issues that you face with, you know, aging infrastructure. We were looking to do a usage needs establishment study that would have stakeholders involved. So I would expect a call if that does pass. But we'd be looking to get an engineer to lead the collection of data of needs from the district and the community, and from there design like a remap of those facilities to maximize its usage and its safety functionality. You know, improved lighting, better parking, safer traffic flows, all of that. So that's what we're looking at, and so you will see something on the ballot, and that's exactly what that's there to address. So the deliberative session is set for March 3rd with a snow date of March 5th. And that has happened because it was 2 years ago, and I actually got stuck in California. So I did not even make it for the snow day because I got a norovirus instead. It was good times. In wine country, it seemed like it was very counterproductive. So on that note, just want to let you know, with this season, there's been some unique experiences that we've had. We know that there's and we had them on our agenda at their request, a concerned taxpayers group, and you know they're looking at leaning the budget further, and so in our meeting last night, which was not live unfortunately because we had to have it at the high school because the inn was full here, there were no facilities for us to use. So it will be available on public access, but we went over what it would look like if we took a significant hit on our budget. And when you look at the high end, the legal maximum to cut it deliberative is 10%. So we took a $5 million number just to give a fair number of what would be somewhere in the middle of that. So consequences to cuts will definitely impact this group as well. Sports would be cut. The band programs that played at the winter, they would have to be cut. Co-curriculars and clubs would have to be cut, your volunteers. Foreign language from grades 5 to 12, because they're not legally required by the state, and more. So review that budget, and honestly, what we did was we took a look at what we would have to do, and we're filling the classrooms by up to 30 kids. So that's what it would do. We wanted to make sure that consequences were well vetted, and our hope is that the budget that we put forth is a budget that carries the day. But if a concerned group ends up changing a deliberative session, that's what we could be facing. So I wanted to make you aware because it would absolutely impact the same group. Yeah.
Quick question. What is the teacher to student ratio right now?
It ranges based on grade. So ranges about 20 to 25 to 1 based on the grade. And then it's a little smaller for kindergarten, about 15 to 1.
So what you're saying is just based on actually a lower percentage of a reduction in the budget than a 10% reduction.
Right.
You're basically saying that it would increase it to 30 kids.
30 kids where it's legally allowed. And then 25 kids, I believe, is the maximum for, I want to say it's K through 2. Yeah, so we would stack the rooms. And it would not be, we would not be delivering an education we would actually save money because we wouldn't continue with our recertification because they wouldn't certify a school without some of those programs. So we would just, at that point, abandon that project. So, absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Any other questions for Shannon at this point? Okay. And the most patient one over here. Hi, Abby. Happy New Year. Our high school representative.
Hello.
Nice
So,
to see you. Thanks for coming.
thank you. So right now finals are going on. The new semester starts this Monday. Everyone's very excited for finals to be over. In terms of events, students participating in the Solo and Ensemble Festival are going to have a recital night next on the 5th of February. So if you want to come see that, there's no admission fee, and there's a lot of great groups. We have a flute choir, woodwind choir, brass choir, percussion ensemble, and others that I'm forgetting.
There's a trumpet choir, I could just tell you. for
Trumpet
fact.
choir, brass choir.
Abby, excuse me, is that held in the gymnasium?
It's held in the Little Theater.
Okay, thank you.
But yeah, a lot of talented people. There'll be some soloists and smaller groups as well.
Nice to know.
And then the Merrimack High School Quiz Bowl team, they won their semifinals for the Granite State Challenge, and they're going to be participating in the finals this Saturday. I'm not sure when that is, but I do know that it is filmed, and episodes will be up on PBS if you want to go watch it. I think it's fun to watch. It's really cool.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Abby, who are they up against?
Oh, I don't
I'm sorry,
know.
I asked you that one question.
No, I know, because I was talking about this today. I think it's Plymouth. I think they're up against Plymouth.
Okay.
But
Do
yeah.
you know where it's actually physically going to take place?
Durham, maybe? I
PBS
think-
facilities in Durham.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Plymouth won last year, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a challenge.
But they're, yeah, that's the goal. Yeah.
That's right.
They're very
Knock
excited.
off defending champions or something.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much it,
Great. Thank you so much, Abby. Nice to see you.
of course.
And she was in the parade. Yay. So we have no public this evening. Anybody? How about any comments from the committee? Anybody want to say anything? Okay. Seeing none. We have 2 dates already set for Wednesday, February 19th, and March 18th on Wednesday, and that should work, depending on the weather and all. You're making the motion? Second. All those in favor? And we are adjourned at 8:05. And before you go, but I have one more word, because that's my middle.